Welcome to episode 103 of the XRM Toolcast. In this episode, Scott and I speak with Ivan Ficko, the Dynamics Ninja, about his brand new tool, the Flow Execution History for the XRM Toolbox. It's basically like a plug-and-trace view of the flows. As always, our guest did an excellent job, and Scott and I get off the rails quite a bit on things going from, we consider this the Fudge episode, as well as Burger King crowns, and Milo, Scott's dog. So we have plenty of stuff about the flow execution history and how that all works. And then we obviously get off the rails like we are known to do. So we apologize for that. But hopefully it makes it a technical aspect even more enjoyable. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. Hello and welcome to another episode of the XRM Toolcast. With me, your host, Daryl, always raising the bar, and Scott, doggy lover Duro. Scott, how's it going?
Very good. Sorry to just lose it there on the intro. It doesn't bode very well for the rest of the... Yeah, so my dog has got a squeaky toy, and he's brought it into the office, and he's now squeaking incessantly in the background. So I do apologize if anyone hears this strange noise in the background. I hope it won't be too distracting. It's the best thing ever for him. It's literally the best thing ever.
All right. What's his name?
Milo.
Milo. All right.
Yeah. So maybe we can have him on a guest one day. I mean, he crashes anyway. So.
All right. It's a dad joke in there. He shouldn't call that kilo because you're not into English measurements. You're into the metric, right?
Yeah. Well. Yeah. I'm trying to make that jump between.
We have a repeat guest on today, but it was episode 26, so it's been a while. And I think this is one of the firsts where we've had a community request. And he happily answered the request. He didn't know it was a community request. I just reached out to him. But we had someone in the community reach out and say, hey, this would be a great idea to have our guest on. So our guest today is Ivan Ficko, the Microsoft MVP, Dynamics Ninja, Dynamics 365 enthusiast, problem solver, and keep your pants on for this one, Scott, bedroom DJ. Yes, bedroom DJ. So, yeah.
Wow.
Welcome to the show. Welcome back.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
It's been since 2020-ish, somewhere on there, and nothing's happened since then at all. So,
no, nothing at all.
Nothing's changed. Nothing new.
Maybe we could commission you even to do the instant, maybe a little special intro music. That would be
upgrade
cool.
our music. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, is that something that you'd be up for? I don't know, putting you on the spot now.
To make something up.
Maybe like a remix kind of thing.
XRM Toolcast remix.
Totally could do that. So anyway, your tool that you've recently come out with, and you've actually someone's actually bought you a beer for us, so that's awesome. Is the flow execution history for the XRM Toolbox. So what is this tool, and why would people want it? And why people have been missing it their entire lives? Like, let's dive into this. What is this tool?
Yeah, there is a funny history about the tool there, because my colleagues wanted the tool for a year or so because they had like one project where they had a lot of flows going on, and a lot of flows were linked up. So Flow 1 was calling Flow 2, Flow 2 was calling Flow 3, etc. And the debugging those flows was like pain in the ass because they need to browse the maker portal and do a lot of clicks just to gather all the information about the flows that are related to each other. And they were losing a lot of time when debugging those kind of scenarios. And they wanted me to build a tool, but I was like, yeah, nobody will want that. Why do you need that? Everything is there in the maker portal. And like a month or so, one guy approached me and said, yeah, we need to do this because we are losing too much time while debugging. Please do it. I will buy you a beer if you want so. But I was like, okay, let's give it a try and let's go and develop the tool and see how it goes. And now I can see that a lot of people are actually liking the tool, and already few of the community members reached out and said, yeah, you totally filled the gap where Microsoft didn't help us, and we'll definitely start using your tool regularly when checking out flow runs. So basically what you can do, you can filter all the flow runs by flows. So you can select multiple flows and see like timeline structure where all the runs are sorted by date. So you can easily go with a solution. Oh, this flow is triggering this one because there is a correlation between those two flows, and you can easily see everything you need on one screen. Don't need to jump all around to gather that information. You have everything you need on one screen. You just pick the time span that you want to show flow runs, filter out by say it as is or something like that, and you can easily open up all the flow histories directly in your browser of your choice and see what's happening on with your flows.
All right. So does that use the browser connection setting in the XRM toolbox in order to figure out what browser to open up when you said the browser of your choice, or do you just give a link?
Yeah, you can select the browser and the profile, which was provided by Tangy recently, I think. But it is kind of tricky to find it out for the new users. So I just wanted to expose the selector directly to the tool because it's quite critical which browser will you open up because of the authorization you need to do before you open the flow run. But it's using the XRM Toolbox connection manager and pulls the data from it.
Okay, cool. And this is also, so you're basically, you say you have something that happened. You don't know what touched the record. You know what happened in this time frame. So you load up the tool to say, all right, show me all the flows executed from 1205 to 1208, because I know it, you know, this 3-minute window is probably when it happened. And then you figure out, okay, here are the flows that ran. These are the ones that potentially caused this change. Let me go and figure out what's going on. Like, is that how you generally use the tool then?
Yeah, you basically do all the filters and then select the flows. Just before the episode, I implemented select all. So basically you can now select all the flows with one click and just see which flows triggered in that time frame. And it's pretty amazing, I think. I was working now on a test with 1 month time frame and like 60K runs in that period on 100 flows. So, and it was pretty fast for fetching the data, which I was really amazed.
Give me a time range. Pretty fast. What is that? We're looking at like
10 seconds or so.
10 seconds for 60,000 flow histories.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah,
that's pretty amazing. Yeah. That's awesome. Compared to the time it would take to do that in the browser, right? To actually go and navigate around.
Yeah, just show more for one flow. It takes a lot of time.
Yeah, exactly. And you were talking about the child flows situation as well. So, you know, like where you've got like a hierarchy of stuff going on. You know, so maybe just could you describe for the listeners what you would normally do to debug a kind of a child flow scenario where you've got errors running in the browser compared to you do it with your tool?
So basically you find out the flow that is causing the problem. So the flow 1 is causing the problem, but now we need to find out flow 2 execution, which is related to the execution of the flow 1, which is kind of tricky because you need to go to flow 2 history and search up all the way down if it's like page 3, 4, and you don't have the information which flow could be the one, flow history. And in the tool, you have the correlation ID, which you click on it, and it will mark red every single run that is related to this one. And you can easily go to details of that flow history and see what's happening on the flow 2, for example.
It just seems spectacular, really, to be able to do that, and also quite remarkable that you can't do that easily in the flow UI, because especially when you've got lots of flows going, and being triggered by parent flows, it would become really quite a complex thing to debug. So yeah, it's amazing that this hole hasn't been plugged until now. So it's just an awesome tool.
Well, Scott, I think this goes back to the self-evident that WinForms is the most prestigious UI ever invented, and it's always going to beat out anything else, right?
Wait a minute, how did you get to that? It's like WinForm reigns supreme. Obviously,
Microsoft could have created it in the portal, but no, they said, you know what, we'd rather let the community do this in WinForms because it's better that way.
Yeah, WinForms never dies, so.
No, it never will. It never will. Yeah. So when it does, I'll have to learn something else. I just, yeah, I don't know. So funny. Oh, so new to my mind, new to my frustration. I was working on a change for the early bound generator, and I referenced a couple DLLs that I needed to add to my reference for my plugin, and when I did it, I ran into some errors, and I did what I thought what you normally do is you just put the DLL in your subfolder within the actual tool directory within the plugin, the XM toolbox. And that wasn't working. And so I finally just submitted a pull request to the XM toolbox that has resolved that now. So I think it'll automatically go and search in your folder for your DLLs, so you don't have to worry about IL merging. But I only say, the only reason I mentioned that is that something that you had to deal with when you were working with your tool, or is everything just standard DLLs that you were referencing?
Yeah, the only one was only the Azure Identity one, and I'll merge it because I'm using the Power Automate APIs that is not accessible through the connection itself. You need to regenerate the token with different scope to be able to fetch all the flow runs. And that's where the connection details extensions comes in, and I decrypt all the information from the connection and generate new token, which works with a Power Automate API. And if you're using client secret authorization, you don't need to do anything. The magic will happen in the background, and you're good to go. But if you're not using the client secret authorization, you can do it via OAuth 2 with the login prompt. You just input your credentials and everything will work fine also. But of course, you don't need that struggle, and just use client secret and everything will be fine.
It's interesting. So tell us a little bit more about that. So you're calling the Power Automate API, and is there some special way in which you need to authenticate with the XM toolbox to call that API?
So basically not. You can authenticate via client secret and everything will work, because I will just take that client secret, generate the new token with the right privileges needed for the API, and that's all. And if you are using any other connection, I will force you to log in first with the credentials, and after that, everything will work too, because you just used OAuth in the background and also applied the right privileges to your token, and that's why it works.
So you're forcing the users. So if you're not using client secret, when you're forcing someone to log in, how's that working? Is that you're popping up the OAuth browser prompt to do that?
Yeah, basically there is a button on the tool that says connect to the Power Automate API. You just press the button, your prompt with the login, and you just log in there and everything becomes enabled in the tool, and you go like you usually will with your filtering out flow runs.
Yeah, because it's quite interesting, isn't it? Because normally, obviously, the tools in the toolbox would be connecting via the standard Power Platform Dataverse API and, the SDK and all of those kind of things. Whereas when you're calling the Power Automate API, it's obviously going to be quite different to that. So how did you find the documentation, and, how did you find all the information on which calls to make? Did you have to reverse engineer anything? How did it go?
Scott, he used AI, of course, didn't you?
Well, naturally, obviously.
And it was half wrong, but he used it anyway. No, what did you do?
Yeah, basically, it was reverse engineering the Power Automate portal, because Flow APIs are not documented at all. And I was just sniffing the network on the portal, fetching the requests from there and trying out the filters, because they're not using all the filters exposed there. I trying to do some filters. I think it will work. And after that, I figured out what will work and what will not work. And for example, the API does not support filtering on end date of the flow run. It only supports filtering on the start date. So basically what I'm doing, I'm filtering out with the start date, and for the end date, I do the filtering in memory when I fetch the data set to the local machine. Yeah, it's all fetching errors all around when trying to see what's happening when I'm trying to execute all kinds of APIs. And I think I found out the best solution now with the filters that are available at a moment on Power Automate API.
Do you feel like you have to put your ninja mask on when you're like diving in and like doing things that they really didn't think you would do, or they didn't want you to do? Like, because I did that list was 2 weeks ago. I was trying to create some tool for our Azure DevOps to be able to like automatically create all these tasks, or to reassign things automatically. And I had the documentation was not very good at all. I had no idea what I was doing in order to do stuff. And so, yeah, do you feel like you have to get in that sort of like hacky sort of ninja mindset then for that?
Yeah, of course. It won't work if you don't do so.
And then do you, I also find that if I have no idea what I'm doing, I end up with 50 or 60 tabs open in my browser, because I'm like, how do I do this? How do I do this? How do this? How do this? And then I found like, I've got like 50 tabs and I have no idea which is the one that I needed to go back to. So am I the only one, or do you do that as well?
No, I had like 2 screens full of tabs, one on
Yes.
Power Automate.
I'm not alone.
And the second one was Postman. So yeah, a lot of tabs were involved there.
Yes. What do we do before tabs? I don't know. It's like the internet 2.0.
Windows hell.
Oh man, I just realized that Windows Explorer now has tabs, or at least it does with the
Notepad has tabs. Everything has tabs. Tabs for everyone.
Is that out of the box now that Windows Explorer has tabs, or is that?
Yeah, Windows 11, everything is tabs.
All right, I don't know when that happened. I don't know if it's a recent update. I don't know if I just haven't noticed it, but I did notice I can't drag it from one window into another window, which is really annoying. But
yeah, I'm still locked on Windows 10, so I don't have that benefits.
Locked on Windows 10, huh? Jeez, I don't remember what the difference is between 10 and 11 anymore. I just
start bar, and that's all.
You alt tab between things, and that's basically it. Use the browser.
You can have the taskbar on the left hand side now in Windows 11 as well, so it makes no difference.
Yes, or even I think Jonas has his on the very side. He doesn't have it on the bottom at all. So because he's crazy.
Yeah, can you do that in Windows 11? I don't know. I haven't tried. Yeah. But I have to say that it is definitely ninja skills to be able to reverse engineer an API in the browser like that. That really is, one tab or multiple tabs. It doesn't really matter. It's still Ninja skill. I mean, actually, last time we actually had another Ninja CRM.
That is
Ninja
fine. We're back to back, aren't we, Scott?
Yeah. So this is that. Yeah, we can make a double bill of ninjas.
Jewel,
yeah. Oh, maybe a jewel. Maybe. Oh, that's a whole nother dimension. I think we can just make it a common for the common good. Ninjas for the common good of the community. But I mean, there is some flow data stored in Dataverse, isn't there? Because there is like you can get to some data, and it's interesting obviously in the portal where you can add in additional columns to get information about that record that was triggering the particular flow run. You can go and add in. So if it was triggered on an account, you can go and add in information about the account. Is that something that you saw how that works inside the Power Automate API? Did you see that happening?
Yeah, I did. It's actually in the tool now. You can see the data, but I'm planning that you can also filter out by those attributes, but it's kind of hard thing to do because for every flow run, you need to run the API to get that. It's called trigger outputs. And you can imagine if you have 60K flows, you need to do 60K requests to get all the columns you want and then filter out against those columns. So I'm still not sure how should I do it if you have multiple flows with different data sets in those trigger outputs. Yeah, it will be pretty challenging for implementing filtering on those columns.
Yeah. So does it go to Dataverse separately to the Flow API, or does the Flow API do it for you? I mean, is it like one call to the Power Automate API to get the flow history, and then another call to go and get the information about the trigger using the correlation and the record ID, or is it just all come back in a single payload?
You get with initial requests where you get flow runs, you get an URL where you should find the trigger outputs, and it's behind some kind of token. So if the token expires, you can't actually get the trigger outputs. So yeah, basically you need to fetch it probably straight away to get everything you want.
Wow, that's really hardcore stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It kind of feels as though it needs a wrapper, right? Is that something you've thought about doing as part of your tool? It's creating some sort of API wrapper that anyone could use to interact with the Flow API to do, this stuff.
Yeah, I think it will be pretty cool. That's some kind of wrapper to get all the information you want. But I'm afraid how long will it take if people
he needs at least 2 beers for
get
that one.
everything out from the flow history. Yeah.
Or at least coffee, not beers. Coffee.
Oh, okay.
Beers probably would have the reverse effect. It would just make you go, nah, I can't be bothered with it. Maybe some really, really strong coffee.
Yeah. For the sleepless nights.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, going. Yeah.
But it's always fascinating, how this stuff happens, because you see it happen in the user interface and in the portal. And if it's not immediately obvious, I always think I just get sucked into that rabbit hole of, okay, well, I'll just take a look at the network traffic. And then it's like, you look at the network traffic and you think, ooh, what's that? And then you see another little bit of information. Then and then suddenly like 5 hours have passed. And like you say, you're using Postman and stuff like that. And so, I mean, was it something you were aware of before you got asked to do this and someone suggested to you? Is it something you'd had experience with before? Or was it just like I'm going to just do it for this purpose?
He's a ninja.
Yeah.
Of course he's done this.
I was like, just let's give it a try at least. But I thought that at least filtering would be easier. flow histories, for example. But
you didn't know what you were letting yourself in for, basically.
Yeah, exactly. But also that I can extend the flow histories with that trigger outputs, for example, so I don't need to do multiple calls for it. But yeah, I still didn't find out if there is an extend part of the query that I can use to get those histories of trigger outputs. But yeah, I'm still searching for it. I'm sure I will get it.
Well, I think I'm certainly going to make use of your tool, definitely, because there are so many times where I have the same challenge, and it's so time consuming to find what's going on. It's the sort of thing that you would normally be really easy to do inside, application insights or something like that, where you can sort of have a correlation and track between certain things that are happening, and be able to do a query that then spans multiple different operations. So it kind of feels as though all of this sort of exploratory debugging should be so much easier. So tools like this are fantastic.
Yeah, that's exactly why I dive deep in this tool, because at the end, when I saw that my colleagues were really happy when I released the first version, which was pretty basic one, with you can just select multiple flows and see that on one screen. They were like, yeah, this will save us a lot of time. And with features that are keeping coming, it's becoming even more useful at the end. And I think that, yeah, definitely it will be a hit, I think.
Okay, so we've already heard Scott, we always give homework, and Scott's homework was, okay, you need to extract this API so I could do fun things with it. He doesn't know what those are yet, but he wants to do them. He knows this. And then I guess, why don't you just do the whole kit and caboodle? Add in, merge in the plugin registration or the plugin viewer from Jonas, and then merge in any sort of not custom legacy workflows that have been triggered, and merge in any sort of other business rules that are triggered, and then you get the whole picture, right? Just do that all. It's a weekend. Get a cup of coffee. It'd be great.
Yeah, it's basically plugin trace viewer for flows.
It is. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Is the correlation ID the same? Because you have the correlation ID in a plugin, right?
Yeah.
When you get a plugin triggered, is that correlation ID the same as the correlation ID for a flow trigger, I wonder?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
Well, I mean, because it feels as though there should be some way of tracing that event all the way back to the same thing, right?
Well, assuming that we are there's actually separate things running underneath the hood, right? You've got your model-driven Dataverse stuff here and your flow stuff over here. Like, assuming that's the case, then I would doubt either system would accept someone giving them a correlation ID.
But I think that's the way it works, isn't it? Under the covers, when you have the ability to track a particular event all the way through, even into all the way into Azure.
They're publicly exposed, though. That's my question.
I don't know. I think I've certainly seen them in a lot of places that are, so it allows you to sort of track. So like a plugin, right? When the further down you get in depth of a plugin, it's the same correlation that goes all the way down. Yes. So I think the correlation ID is something that is given to an event, a child event, in order to track it against its public event. But it would be interesting to look at that, because then that would be cool, wouldn't it? Be able to say, well, actually, you've got a flow that's triggered, and these are also the plugins which were triggered. You have like the whole thing together.
Yeah, and then you have a button, open the plugin trace viewer to see which plugins are related to this flow. Yeah, that will be definitely amazing.
Yeah. And then I wonder if plugins that then were triggered as part of that flow, maybe there's like a correlation that goes to child plugins on our flow.
It's correlation IDs all the way down, isn't it, Scott?
Yeah. I mean, surely there must be some way of doing that.
We'll just start assigning our own children correlation IDs, and so that way they, we'll give them our correlation ID. I'm the cause, you're the effect, just all the way down.
Yeah. I mean, it's the sort of thing that sometimes you open a Microsoft support call, and it's the sort of thing that you feel as though that's what they're doing. They're digging into these kind of things that are going on behind the scenes, and you think, oh, if only I had access to whatever you're looking at in the back end, that would be so cool.
Yes, they basically have that tool in the background, but they don't want to share it. Shame on them.
All right. Yes. Shame on them. Shame on them. Well, one other thing I was going to mention, I forgot to at the beginning of the episode, was did you see we got a shout out, Scott, from the community, from the Power Platform Boost podcast?
Yes, I did. I feel as though we need to reciprocate as well.
Yes.
We should promote the Power Platform Boost. With Ulrika and Nick, and it's an awesome podcast, absolutely, and everyone should go and listen to it and subscribe.
Well done.
There we go. I feel as though I need to do that better. We need to kind of do it with like lots of party poppers and tinsel and yeah, exactly.
Something by John Williams in the background. Yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, but in all seriousness, though, it's definitely filling a gap in the community, because it's a really, really good summary of what's been happening, in the last 2 weeks. Because so much happens, doesn't it? There's so many things going on. It's really easy to miss an announcement or a really awesome blog post, or a really good tool that Ivan's created, for example. So you can tune in, and they've been trying to keep it under 30 minutes, but I think it's sometimes, just like us, we vary the amount of time, but in about 30 minutes, you will be able to get a complete picture of what's happened in the last 2 weeks. And so you can count on them to give you all the updates. So yeah, definitely worth listening to every 2 weeks. Very highly recommended.
All right. That one is even better, Scott. I don't know if that was the first try or if that was the second try, but no, well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
I've redeemed myself somewhat.
Yes, you redeemed yourself.
Yes,
so
that's why it goes over 30 minutes always.
Yes. So if I think back to before you wrote your first bit of code, before you looked at any sort of analysis of the API, like, what was the estimate in the number of hours you thought it might take versus the number of hours it actually took for your tool?
The first thing I thought, it is all somewhere in Dataverse, not external APIs, because you can get flows that are inside of solution directly from the SDK. And I was like, yeah, okay, that's the first step. You need to go get flows. And I used Fetch XML Builder, and I tried to get in a relationship, and I was like, whoops, there is no relationships of the histories I want to take. So how to do that? And then I go to make a portal and dig 40 actual APIs. But the funny thing, though, is that all the sessions, as they call it, are there in Dataverse for the UI flows. So if you want to go for executions of the UI flows, they are actually there into Dataverse. You can easily get the UI flow sessions, but not the classic flow sessions, only the UI flow sessions. That's ridiculous.
I wonder if that was just done later and they thought, all right, where do we need a place to put this? Well, we have Dataverse, let's use that. And then since flow existed beforehand, just the standard flow, maybe that was why. I don't know. That's interesting. Now we know. Now the whole world knows. You revealed it to us. Good job. So I'm guessing once you figured out that, I have to go do something I've never done before, the amount of time that was required is probably increased by a factor of 10. That'd be my guess. You're like,
Yeah,
take
something
two
like
hours to pull this out. And
definitely.
now it's going to take 20 hours.
Yeah, and when you thought that you got everything up and you can filter out by dates that are already there in the outputs, I was like, fudge, what to do now?
Our rating will have to be set to adult after that expletive. It's fine.
Yeah, you can go just beep beep and
you said
we're
fudge, fine. All right? You said
absolutely.
Fudge.
No, yeah. Fridge.
You got some lovely fudge. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why, but in certain areas of the United States, they're like known for their fudge. I don't know why Mackinac Island is known for their fudge. It's just an island in the middle of the Great Lakes. Why is it supposed to be special for fudge? But that's always something you're supposed to get fudge when you go there. Do you have stuff like that in Europe, like in Croatia? Is there stuff over there? It's like, hey, this place is known for fudge, or is that just I don't know, just me? No.
It's getting very bizarre now. This will be the episode that will be called "When We Talk About a Fudge."
Yes. Well, if this is the episode, I might as well go in. They built a fudge factory up the interstate, and it's called Uranus Fudge Factory. Yes. Yes. It's and
you're all in now, Daryl.
Great advertising. It's great. It's great. So, yes, we're all in on the fudge episode. All in.
No going back now. Wow. So, sorry, I'm just gonna try and compose myself, but yeah. So I have to say that one of the things about writing these tools, people don't often appreciate how much time people put into them, and how much actual benefit they get from it. Is because the person that's written that tool has spent a lot of time, a lot of passion, a lot of energy, trying to help the community out. So I would really encourage anyone who's using a tool regularly to just maybe even just an encouraging word to the author. Just say, hey, thanks for this tool. Just let them know, what you've been using it for, and maybe go onto the XRM Toolbox website and do a rating. Not just a rating, but also put a comment in there. I think that also is quite an important thing. Tanguy often says that's the real thing about XRM Toolbox rating, is that look for the comments, not just the stars. Mm-hmm. And so and if there is like a buy me a coffee, buy me a beer button or a donation, I would really encourage you just to consider that if it's really helping you.
Yeah, it definitely is. I'm always amazed when people approach to me and this tool solved this issue in my particular case, and I was like, one more person that helped them. So it definitely means a lot to me when somebody reaches out, and there is no money that can buy this. That satisfaction when you help somebody with your tool, that's really amazing.
Yeah. So you need to buy me some fudge button, really. That's what we need.
Buy me the fudge. Yes, buy me the fudge. Since this is the fudge episode, anything else we need to go on fudge-wise? I mean, I don't know. I wasn't prepared for it, but I mean, maybe, think about it. But.
Yeah, you definitely need to censor that with fudge. It will be marked as fudge episode for sure.
You can just give us a sample of you saying fudge, really deadpan, quite a different volume, and we'll just overlay it on top,
We'll be really quiet right now.
Fudge.
Perfect. Okay. All right.
We'll do that. Yeah. Let's go with that.
All right. That was that. Okay. I'm writing down the time here. We'll see if we can get that in there. That's awesome. Oh, that's awesome. Anything else you're doing? Anything else going on besides creating WinForm apps in 2023?
At a moment, no, because I broke my arm a few months ago on 2 places, and all I do is code at home at the moment. I can't do any sports now, and I have a platter here. If you see,
I see a big scar.
Whole arm. Yeah, wow. It was broken on 2 places, and I'm still in process of rehabilitation after that. So yeah, I do a lot of coding nowadays.
Are you right-handed or left-handed?
Left-handed.
Oh, even worse. Even worse. How'd you break your arm?
I was going to work actually after a holiday, first day, from the new flat. So I didn't know the road. I approached the bump that was in the shadow, and my electric scooter catapulted me over the steering wheel, and I fell directly on my arm. So
ow.
That's pretty much exactly how I broke my arm when I was in middle school. Only it was a bicycle, not an electric scooter, but I was going down the road and there was a chunk of asphalt that flipped up from the edge of the road onto the road. And I was going no hands. I was trying to go no hands, and I'm not very good with balance. So, but I was marginally being successful. And then I looked down and I saw that chunk of asphalt on the ground. And I grabbed the steering wheel and went to go turn, and I hit it right when I turned. I just fly Superman over my handlebars and land like this, and both bones pop right out of the skin. But I always say the way I see it, it wasn't his fault; it was her fault. It's asphalt.
It's always
so
never your fault.
No, it was asphalt.
I guess being able to code is still with your hand is the most important thing, right? So
it's the moneymaker.
Yeah, actually, the one-handed coding was pure gold because I was working for the whole rehabilitation process. I was in hospital for 4 days, but on day 3, I said, no, I need to code. I'm really bored. I need to do something. And then I was coding some custom websites, but nonetheless, one-handed coding without an GitHub Copilot would be a nightmare there because I was so slow. I feel like I was like a tortoise working on code. Yeah, it was frustrating though. And the day when my hand was able to click the control and shift, I was like, yes, finally, I can at least try coding at the half speed, for example.
At the half speed.
Yeah. It was marvelous. Yes, finally I can code normally. It was normally at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, we have 2 hands, and if you lose one of them, you're coding at 20% max. It's funny how much you need the other hand. It's crazy.
And without it, the completion in one-handed process, it was like, oh my god, this is so slow.
Well, it's dedication that you carried on doing it, and that shows your passion for coding, that you moved on regardless.
Or your sheer boredom.
Well, yeah, there is that as well.
The boredom was a big issue there. You can't do Netflix all day. You need to do something
There's
else.
only so much. Yeah. So you were saying you were using Copilot. That was the thing you were using to code with, and with one hand. So you type a bit, and then Copilot would go, "Do you mean this?" And you'd say, "Yes."
Tabbing. Yes, give me that code. I want that code.
That's amazing. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking about. How smart are you? Thank you, Copilot.
Yeah, well, it's definitely revolutionized. Sometimes I'm typing and it's like, how did you know that I needed that bit of code? It's kind of creepy that it can guess exactly what you wanted to do, and it looks at your project and it.
Yeah. Now when he's in context of your project, it's like, wow.
Yeah.
I have had struggles with ReSharper and GitHub Copilot fighting each other within Visual Studio, and both wanting to show me auto completion, and one shows it to me, but the other one actually completes it with their version of it. And so I think I'm getting version A of the code. I get version B of the code. Has anybody else gotten that, or is that just me?
No, I think you've got to go all in with AI. That's the answer.
Just ignore Copilot. Ignore
ReSharper.
Remember ReSharper's turning off auto completion.
It's so yesterday.
Yeah. ReSharper, more like Redoller. Yeah, there we go. That didn't really come out too well. That's okay. Oh, all right. On that note, Ivan, do you have anything else that we missed? Anything else we need to talk about before we call it a day today?
I think we covered most of what we want to talk about. So
right. Cool.
Yeah,
are you going to be speaking at any events or any up and coming presentations?
I'm really not sure if I'm booked for any conferences now. Just user groups here in the region, but nothing global.
Well, I guess you've now got a very good topic to talk about because I think there was probably not many people that wouldn't want to know about the tool that you've built. I think, if you use Power Automate a tool, I think instantly it will be a hit. So yeah, it's going to be a very good topic.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking about it that way, to convert that to a session, though.
Oh no, you got to. That's how you earn your MVP bucks. Is you take something you did once and you multiply it multiple times. It's just how this works. Oh, you're so young.
Yeah.
So much to learn.
Young Padawan.
So much.
All right. So Mr. Dynamics Ninja, how do people get a hold of you if they have comments, other things they would like you to be working on, more homework that they'd like to give you, or to send you that beer? How do people get a hold of you?
Yeah, I think the best way is to reach out on LinkedIn, and we will sort out anything they want, probably. Or if they want me to get a beer, so they can go on my GitHub profile and just hit a button and leave the kind words or beer or two, and I will be more than happy to receive it.
More than happy to receive it. Well, Scott, that's how our listeners can get hold of our guest. If our listeners wanted to get a hold of us, like Mr. Piotr Ruksak, who is the actual person from Poland that suggested that we have Ivan on here as a guest, how do they get hold of us?
Well, Daryl, yes, if you wanted to also send us any suggestions for where you can get the best fudge as well, you can send us an email at cast@xrmtoolbox.com, or you can get us on socials at xrmtoolcast. Yeah, and we'd love to hear from you. And it's been an absolute pleasure, Ivan. Thank you ever so much for agreeing to come and spend this bit of time with us. And also thank you ever so much for your tool as well.
Thanks for having me, Dave. Yeah, it was really a pleasure to be on the show once again.
For the second time. Yes. Thank you so much. Number two, you just got to make another tool to make can get the hat trick in there. You got a special crown. I think it's got Burger King on the side of it, but yeah, we sent it to you. It's great. Do you even have Burger King crowns? Did you guys say that growing up? No, is that just me?
I think we did. I think I did. Yeah.
Did you have Burger Kings? I don't know. Pizza. So
yeah.
A fast food restaurant, Burger King, they had little paper crowns, and we always would get them in.
Yeah, we did always McDonald's.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right. Yeah. Could be worse. All right. Well, that's all. On that note, we'll end on the Burger King crown. This is the Fudge Burger King crown episode. Yes, totally. All right. Well, thank you very much, Ivan. We appreciate it, and we hope you have a good day.
Cheers, then.
Thank you. Bye.
This has been the XRM Toolcast with Daryl Labar and Scott Durrell. Produced by Lynn Zawin. If you have any questions or suggestions, please send them to cast@xrmtoolbox.com, tweet @XRM Toolcast, or hit us up on our LinkedIn XRM Toolcast page.